There are three things in life that are inevitable: death, taxes, and when the final boss shows up, feelings. And we got him. Welcome to a Notsam Wrestling emergency podcast because the final boss, The Rock, has returned to Smackdown and left many, many people asking many, many questions. And on this Notsam Wrestling emergency podcast, we have a very special guest in studio. It's a rarity for a feelings only show, but you know her from all the Notsam Wrestling emergency podcast instant reaction shows. Megan Morant, how are you?
Sam, it's an honor to be here on the night that the final boss makes his return to SmackDown.
I mean, so first of all, I almost all day, I was itching going, I think I got to do emergency podcast before he shows up. I got to do, and maybe there should have been that. Maybe there should have been a special wild speculation emergency podcast where we speculated upon what The Rock is actually going to do in New Orleans, Louisiana, because as soon as that Instagram post dropped where The Rock said, "I'm coming to NOLA," it was like, oh boy, the whole game's about to change. And just when you thought too, right? Just when you thought, well, he's probably coming to announce, because there had been rumors that New Orleans was getting WrestleMania. And you go, okay, realistically, he's probably just showing up the same way on the Netflix Raw debut. He just kind of showed up to glad hand a little bit.
We're going to get corporate Rock. He's just going to come out here. It's going to be a bunch of fanfare. He's going to make an announcement.
It's going to be WrestleMania.
Everybody's going to cheer.
And that's it. But then two things happened. Number one, there was a Triple H quote in the press release that was like, it's WrestleMania season and The Rock has the ability to change everything. I'm paraphrasing, whatever it was. And then The Rock's Instagram video that he put out today
with the watch,
the Rolex that Cody gave him at WrestleMania, which I'm assuming is the gift that The Rock returned to Cody, but Cody must have sent it back because The Rock's got it. Regardless, it's not about the watch anymore because The Rock wants way more from Cody than a Rolex watch. So, okay. I get it now. A lot of people are confused. Some did not like the segment. Some people they say they do not like when The Rock shows up on SmackDown.
What do we call those people, Sam?
Haters.
Yes.
That's a good question.
They're the haters.
They're the haters. And also, look, as far as I'm concerned, this keeps going on. The unread texts are coming in. You can see them. Unread texts, unread tweets, unread Discord messages. We got people asking about John Cena, people asking about Homelander Cody.
People asking about Roman Reigns.
Roman Reigns. But look, let's talk about what actually happened, because there are some cynical haters that are oh, you're going to sugarcoat this one, Sam.
Let's just look at what is in front of us.
Let's explain it.
And dissect it.
I'm going to tell you because, Megan, I don't come on here, as you know, this is who I am. I don't come on here and try to justify decisions that I think are bad. You sat in the room and you watched me react to that segment.
I did.
What did my wife say midway through the segment as I was hitting the top of my head and banging the arms of the chair because of what was going on?
She said, Sam, please do not wake the children.
And what did I say? They'll understand. The final boss is on SmackDown. This is what I said.
Puts food on our table.
Yeah. Say thank you, final boss. Big deal. We woke up. Guess what? In the morning, we're having breakfast. Why? Because the final boss has made it so. I think the whole story of what we saw, and by the way, if you're really paying attention, in my opinion, to the nuance of what happened, it even does start to explain Netflix Raw. A lot of people were mad about Netflix Raw because they said it took away from the story that The Rock told going into WrestleMania 40 and the night after WrestleMania 40.
I think tonight we got some answers on it, because I was wondering, how could you possibly have a situation where Cody Rhodes and The Rock are such good friends that they are drinking Terramana tequila backstage after the Raw on Netflix premiere, after everything that we've been through with these two, and the last time we saw them together, Rock had his People's Championship.
Right.
Cody had the WWE Championship.
Right.
And there was a lot of tension.
Can I hold your belt? That was the last. Remember that? So,
yes.
Okay. I feel like the character work began at the beginning of SmackDown when Nick Aldis tells Cody Rhodes, you've been pulled from the main event. You're not in the 6-man tag anymore. And Cody says, well, of course I have to be in the 6-man tag. Solo Sikoa can just do whatever he wants. He goes, you're not in the match anymore. And Cody said, who can I call? And Nick Aldis said, it's over my head, and I don't think you understand. There's nobody for you to call. There's nobody for me to call. This comes from the final boss. So everybody, this whole thing that is like, oh, The Rock tried to take Cody's WrestleMania main event away from him. Oh, The Rock is going to show up and try to mess up WrestleMania or whatever. Now we're leaning into it. And we're starting this SmackDown to say, Cody, you were supposed to be in the main event of this show, and you're not because The Rock said so. And then we're teasing. The truck pulls up, the Ford pulls up, and he sped right up. Before the commercial break, we said we know who's in that truck. We go to commercial break, we come back. We got that beat of silence before The Rock's music played. A little bit of New Orleans fanfare added to the music. And I will tell you, there was a part of me that was worried that once that kind of New Orleans music kicked in, I was like, oh no. I was like, what if he really is just here to announce WrestleMania next year? What if he really is just here to announce WrestleMania 42 is going to be in New Orleans? The announcement's big, but it's not exactly final boss.
We've been waiting all day for this.
Yeah.
And now you see the New Orleans music.
And I'm like...
And like you, I tempered my expectations. The Triple H tweet got me excited. But then when I really started to believe there was more than just a WrestleMania announcement was when the Watch tweet went up.
Yeah. And part of it, look, I mean, part of the reason that expectations are so high goes into credit how good that story going into WrestleMania 40 was. Fabulous. It's one of those things that now it's like, that's the level that we're playing at. Okay. So, but I go, but he took Cody out of the main event. It can't just be to announce the main event of announce that WrestleMania is coming to New Orleans. So The Rock gets in there. He won't stop cussing. He doesn't care whether we're on TV or not. We're dumping that sound. And he says, finally, The Rock. And then the audience says, has come back to New Orleans. And then immediately he goes, and finally, WrestleMania is coming back to New Orleans. Everybody cheers. We get the graphics, so it's official.
Yep.
April 11th and 12th of 2026, WrestleMania 42 comes to the Superdome, or as Hulk Hogan called it, the Silverdome, in New Orleans, Louisiana. I go, great. And The Rock, after helping a fan pick up their cell phone in the front row.
What a good guy.
You know, shaking hands with the people as he came to the ring. That's all too, when he was coming down the aisle. I was like, uh-oh, he's shaking hands with everybody. Like, this may be glad-handing Rock that we saw on Netflix. But then on NXT, after Netflix Raw, he did that thing where he didn't like, as I've said before, my theory on The Rock is the final boss comes out when he gets booed. Saying, like, this is what the monster that is created when people disapprove of what The Rock does.
And you know how you get booed in New Orleans, Sam?
Yeah.
You tell everybody that they have STDs.
When he said, he's like celebrating with everybody. And then he also goes, and this is the biggest collection of STD having trailer park trash I've ever seen. I go, oh,
we're back.
He's back. He's back. So he talks Cody Rhodes up. He says, our WWE champion. It's a privilege to announce. Here's Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes comes out, right? And I already can see that The Rock has laid it on thick. Too thick. Like, privilege. Like, he's really laying it on thick. And then Cody Rhodes comes out, right? And the fans are now going nuts for him. And when he gets in the ring, the fans are going nuts for him. And I realized in that moment that there may not be anybody who is made better by having a supervillain juxtaposed with them than Cody Rhodes. There's something about Cody Rhodes, and we saw this last year at WrestleMania, that the minute that you have, whether it be a Roman Reigns, whether it be The Rock leading up to WrestleMania last year, when there is a villain that's as big a villain as Cody is a hero, which is why so many times I've said, stop talking about turning Cody heel. He's the biggest babyface in generations. And that is so apparent when a supervillain is in the ring. Because when people are like, when he is next to The Rock, there is something about that makes everybody go, man, we love Cody Rhodes. And it happened tonight.
And it happened last year, which is why we ended up getting the main event that we got.
Yes. And there's something about, maybe that's what it is, right? There's something about seeing The Rock and Cody Rhodes in the ring on Smackdown where it brings all those emotions back.
Yes.
Where it's like, no. You tried to take away our main event and we got it back. So now we don't know what kind of nonsense you're pulling with Cody, but we are, as the fans, not going to let that happen. And that's the beauty of that dynamic that's created with The Rock, the fans, and Cody Rhodes. But immediately to me, I saw The Rock as being a manipulative boss. There's something like, there's a dynamic that when you deal with people on a corporate level, and Megan, I'm sure you have, I know I have, like it happens. Like there can very often be a false flattery that an executive will use to kind of get you on his side, like a false flattery, so that you become one of his people. And then once he gets you in, or she gets you in, then the manipulation starts.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I feel like, and even if you or I haven't experienced that, the stories have been told time and time again.
Let me tell you how great you are.
Yeah. And they go like,
you are just the best.
and they go like this. They don't know, but I see it. I was you. You are impressive.
You remind me a lot of a young me.
Yeah. I want you to be better than me.
And I think you're capable of doing it.
I mean, come on. We've all been there. And so immediately.
I don't say this to everyone.
Right.
But you have it.
Just you. It's when a young actor goes into a meeting with like a studio executive or an agent or something that's like, and I'm going, okay, this is what I'm picking up on. This is what I'm doing, right? And he's like, he's talking about how he's a member of the board of directors, and he's like, actually, I'm the director of the board. And he goes, the board of TKO, which owns WWE. And he says it all with a smile, which owns all of this. And then he brings up Ari Emanuel, who Ari doesn't get brought up on WWE television.
Never.
Because there's levels to this, right?
Yes.
There's the president of WWE, is the CEO of TKO, and then there's the guy in charge of Endeavor that's like in charge of all. I mean, it's crazy, right? But Ari and The Rock have this relationship in real life forever,
And
right?
The Rock is really on the board of TKO.
Yes, that's the blurred line that you're like, where does this stop? And he goes like, I go to Ari and I say, can you believe you own the WWE? And Ari goes, haha, Rock, I don't own WWE. You own the WWE. And you think he's going to say, the fans own the WWE. But he didn't say that.
No.
He said, Ari said, I own WWE. And you're like, oh, this is the boss in a very, very friendly way, reminding you that he's in complete control of everything.
He has all of the power.
All of it. You have no, I don't care what belt you have. I'm here to, with a smile on my face, remind you, maybe you just better do everything that I say, okay?
Just so you know, I call all of the shots.
Yes.
But
Yes.
you shouldn't worry.
No.
Because you're great.
You're great. And I can make all your dreams come true.
If you just listen to me.
Right. And then he goes, your wife, your baby. And when people who I don't know like that, or who I am not sure have the best of intentions for me, start mentioning the names of the people in my family, ooh.
But I know them well. They were in Hawaii for the Moana 2 premiere.
There was even a moment when he goes, you and I have become good friends, Cody, where Cody's like,
We have?
Exactly.
Look at our moms.
Yeah. They're together.
Your family was in Hawaii with my family.
Yes. Yes.
And you can see the wheels turning in Cody's brain.
Where he's like, I'm in trouble.
Yes.
What is going on here? What type of manipulative game is going on here? He goes, me and you, we're lucky boys, me and you.
We've got it all.
We've got it all.
Girl dads.
Right. We've got it all. Again, somebody in a position of power pointing out how much you have, with the underlying message being, which, by the way, I could either multiply or divide. I could either add to that or I can take it all away.
Well, now, speaking of that, how many Instagram followers do you have, Sam? A couple million?
Millions. The Rock has 500 million. And you're just like, that's not a flex. He said, that's not a flex. That's not a flex. Oh, I love. He goes like, I want you to be my brother, Cody. I want you to. Hey, you shut up, or I'll smack the syphilis off your face. Anyway, I'm trying to have a moment. The Rock is trying to have a moment. Anyway, which is just, to me, that type of stuff is brilliant because it's
like when the secretary comes in and is like, sir, you have a call. You shut your mouth.
Yeah. Anyway, I love what you're doing. Yeah. It's that.
You're doing great work.
It's that type of energy, and he goes, no, I want you to be better than me. He literally said, I can make all your dreams come true, and all your wife's dreams come true, and all your daughter's dreams come true. And it's like, I don't like this anymore. Where are you going with this? And then when he goes, I want that. Cody's like, you want the title? He goes, no, I want your soul. I was like, what? What? Final boss got dark real quick. He's like, Cody, all you have to do is give me your soul. And
you're going to get everything that you've ever wanted.
I mean, this is every Disney story. This is the Little Mermaid giving Ursula her voice. Don't worry, just give me your voice and I'll give you everything, not realizing the deal with the devil that she has signed.
You're going to have legs. You're going to be able to walk. You're going to be with the prince.
Right. Just give me your voice.
That's it.
Are you even using it?
You don't need that.
No. Look at what I can give you. Have you ever seen the movie The Devil's Advocate?
Of course.
That's what it is.
Yes.
He's like, what do you want to be, some small town lawyer? No. Keanu, I got you. Come to New York.
Yeah.
Join our firm.
And so he wants.
And he goes, what about love? What about love? He goes, we can do that with chocolate. What are you talking about? What about love? Look what we can do for you. Look what we can do.
So The Rock wants Cody to be his champion.
His champion. Rock's not interested in Cody being a champion for the people because The Rock is the people's champion. The Rock needs the champion of his WWE to be his guy. And that's what he's telling Cody. To me, this is like a very literal interpretation of anybody in entertainment or wherever that has kind of like been like, yeah, all your dreams come true and you kind of have to sell your soul. Except The Rock is going like, yeah, it's exactly what I'm telling you.
Just sell your soul.
Just sell your soul.
Be the corporate champion.
And I got you.
My champion.
Right. I mean, it's the he literally said best. I'm pointing to the figure. He literally said best for business. This is the authority in the 2000s. This is Austin McMahon. And
that's what I was going to ask you. I've seen a lot of people compare this to Austin McMahon, but a 2025 version. I feel like it's more layered already.
I think it is. I think it is more layered because you are. It's to me a much bigger picture story. It's not a blue collar guy with his boss, which, to be fair, is far more relatable. When it's just a blue collar guy who's getting, who's got a terrible boss, and we get to see him beat up the boss. There's a reason that story is so relatable. It's great. Instead, we seem to have a story where you have a high level executive and a high performing sports entertainer. And we have to figure out if the entertainer that has the connection with the audience is actually more powerful than this high-level executive who, by the way, came from that world of performing, who knows it as well.
And they both come from families that also came from this world.
Right. So that, to me, is the story that we're telling with Rock and Cody. And because that's the story, it absolutely loops back into Netflix, because he showed up at the debut episode of Netflix to start to lay the foundation. To be like, I love you, Cody. You're the man. We're friends. You're the best. You're my guy. Then we get to SmackDown. You're my guy, aren't you?
Come on. We were having a great time.
We had the Terramana, remember?
That was the best.
Yeah, the idea that it's all manipulation and that there's just different levels of manipulation going on at different times, to me, is this character that we're dealing with. And that's what the final boss is, because he's a real final boss. He's not the final boss in a video game. That's just the final boss because he's the strongest and most powerful.
He's on the board of TKO. Ari Emanuel told him that he owns the WWE.
It's the control. It's the absolute control. And it's a bigger control than like the McMahon-Helmsley regime.
Mm-hmm.
That was a much more tangible control because it was the WWE as an organization. McMahon-Helmsley regime are in charge because they've been put there by executives and they make the employees' lives hell. Even Austin McMahon. It was still about WWE. WWE has become so much bigger now. It's stretching out everywhere as part of TKO and Endeavor and everything. So now the figure of authority has to be somebody who is that ultra powerful being, the likes of which we haven't seen in an authority figure before. And The Rock is kind of perfect for that. I think that The Rock hears everything. And I don't think a year ago, when The Rock came back after the Royal Rumble, he knew that this was the way it was going to go. But I think the Rock hears people that say, well, you tried to take Cody's main event. I think The Rock understands that in modern day WWE, it's not about seeing the legends anymore. Like there was a time in WWE where the stars, because of a myriad of reasons, were not as big of stars as the legends that the legends drew, right? And when The Rock showed up, it kind of eclipsed the other stars on the roster. Now, not the case.
Look at the Chamber as your first example.
Exactly. It's a highlight. It's like, oh, cool. The Rock's going to be there, but the idea of The Rock being a babyface and taking the top babyface's spot, it ain't going to fly in 2023, 2024, 2025. But we can acknowledge that and lean all the way into it. And The Rock concludes by saying that he wants a brother. And he wants Cody to be his brother. He wants Cody to be his champion.
Think about it, Cody.
And he said, don't tell me. And I said, and I was worried at first, right? Because he said, don't tell me now. Go home and think about it. And I go, oh, is this going to be one of these open-ended things? Because The Rock does that sometimes when The Rock doesn't, because, you know, he's the busiest guy in entertainment. They just announced that he's doing a Scorsese movie.
Yeah, that's why I thought we're not going to get The Rock at WrestleMania 41. We're not going to see The Rock on the road to WrestleMania. He's doing the Scorsese movie. And within hours of that announcement, The Rock announces he's coming to SmackDown.
You think I'm convinced Martin Scorsese, Mr. Cinema, I'm convinced he saw the build to WrestleMania 40 and said, this Rock, what a performer. I got to get him in one of my movies. Because people are thinking, people go, oh, what do you mean The Rock's in a Scorsese movie? The Rock is one of these the cinema that he created on the road to WrestleMania 40. If Scorsese, all he would need to see is one frame of The Rock whipping Cody Rhodes in the parking lot, screaming about Mama Rhodes. And he'd go, yeah, that's the guy I need with Leo and Emily Blunt. So I go, maybe this will be one of those open-ended things, and The Rock goes back to working on what The Rock has to work on. But he says, think about it. I'll see you next week in Toronto at the Elimination Chamber. And I went, oh my God. Because now it has completely turned everything on its head. Like now, it was already meaty enough of a topic to say who's going to win the Elimination Chamber and fight Cody Rhodes. Because there's a million different directions you could go in. They're teasing Damian Priest over here. CM Punk is a favorite. John Cena is a favorite. Like Drew McIntyre is always
with everybody.
Yeah. But now you're like, well, what's going on with Cody and The Rock? Is The Rock actually going to be at WrestleMania? We all thought he was not. I thought he was not.
I thought he was not.
Is The Rock going to be at WrestleMania? And if so, you would think he's got to be in the ring with Cody. Because there are some people that are like, this is where...
Maybe. It depends what Cody decides.
Right. This is where people go, this is where Cody becomes a villain. And I'm like, I can't...
I don't think
I don't see.
You saw and heard the reaction that Cody got.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see this making Cody a villain. I don't see Cody becoming a villain. I don't see John Cena becoming a villain. I just don't.
No Cena becoming a villain.
I don't see it. I mean, maybe there's a world where Rock goes after Cody and Roman Reigns helps Cody, and then we lead to Rock versus Roman Reigns. But there's just Cody versus The Rock is real quick becoming the thing that, like, whew,
Be pretty good.
maybe 6-way DQ for Elimination Chamber finish, and we give it to The Rock. But I mean, how do you get there? I don't know, man. I don't know. Was there anything like that? Was my interpretation of everything that went on, and why The Rock seemed to change characters as he went through the promo, because I think it was all a manipulation. I said this a year ago, that at the end of the day, the final boss is the id of The Rock. It is the ugly center of the ego where everything is stripped away. There's no sort of politeness. There's not a ton of humanity to it. It's just, this is raw, and at the core, the final boss is The Rock, which means that a lot of this other work that he does is character work that is covering up the final boss, because it's not like the final boss and Hollywood Rock and the People's Champion and Executive Rock. These are not different people. These are all different sides of the same person. And my personal theory is that right now, the reason we see different personalities sometimes is because the other characters come out to hide the final boss, because you can't be that combative all the time. Especially when you're The Rock.
Yeah, and especially in the position that he's in.
Exactly.
You can't always be that person. If he is the final boss on the Netflix on Raw premiere, that doesn't look so great. If he is the final boss the minute he's announcing that WrestleMania is coming to New Orleans, that doesn't look so great. But 30 seconds later,
how interesting is it that when he makes all these announcements, that when he's so friendly at the first episode of Raw, and when he makes the announcement at WrestleMania, that we as fans know that even as this character is making these announcements, what's really at his core is always the final boss. Because I think ultimately that's what we're dealing with, that no matter what The Rock presents himself as on television, ultimately what's at the core is the final boss always right now. There were people that were saying, make sense of this, because it didn't make sense to me. I didn't feel confused with the segment. I felt like it was very tense.
I felt it was tense, yes.
It was awkward and uncomfortable at times. It didn't have the typical cadence of a wrestling promo, nor should it, though.
The segment was all about manipulation.
To me and you. You took that away, too. Was there anything that you felt like was either confusing or didn't really hit that I didn't kind of cover?
Well, what I think everybody is so focused on is, where do we go from here?
Always.
What is the match?
Always.
And I don't think we have a clue right now what the match is.
But what do we say?
Let them cook.
That's it. And that's why people are going like, I was watching a video today.
Everyone wants to see the WrestleMania card tomorrow.
I know. And it's like, stop. It's February.
Yeah.
I was literally watching a video that was like, this road to WrestleMania sucks. I'm like, we haven't even got through Elimination Chamber.
Right?
Where were we?
WrestleMania is later this year. We really got to let them cook.
It's 420.
Hey.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a big thing.
I think that is what everybody is confused about. Everybody now is trying to say, wait, where does Cena fit in this? Where does Roman fit in this?
And by the way,
what is the match going to be at WrestleMania? And right now, all I'm thinking about is how Cody's going to respond at the Elimination Chamber.
Because that's all we can think about. Because the truth is, maybe we don't know. Maybe no one knows right now exactly where it's going to go. This is part of the problem of having 11 top guys, right? This is part of the problem, I say with air quotes, of going through an era right now where, as part of the active, full-time, part-time, whatever you want to call it, as part of the active roster, you've got Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, The Rock, John Cena, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. I could go on and on and on.
And the other thing is, all of these guys that you mentioned, they don't just have issues with one other guy. Like, Cody Rhodes doesn't just have issues with the final boss after tonight. He has issues with Kevin Owens. I mean, we've
That's
seen
not
Drew
settled.
McIntyre come up. We've seen
Roman-
Damian Priest,
Hey.
Roman Reigns.
He's still in it. Roman Reigns said, can you imagine?
You're in my way in life.
Oh, that's so stressful. Can you imagine being a champion like Cody Rhodes? I don't recall, and I recall a lot of WWE champions. I don't recall any of them that in the same 365 days, they had two of the greatest Samoan wrestlers to ever lace a pair of boots, which if you're one of the greatest Samoan wrestlers ever, you're one of the greatest wrestlers ever. One of them said, "You're in my way in life," and the other one said, "I want your soul." How do you? I mean, I'd be just a bundle of nerves everywhere I went. The anxiety that would induce in me.
And not to mention, Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa,
And now
they're
you got
running
this-
around backstage as well. So there's
And don't get me
not
started
just,
on these
like,
Tongans.
There's not just one clear-cut story. Oh, Cody's over here with The Rock now.
I don't. And maybe
Damien's
not,
over
maybe.
here with this. Like, we don't know.
And maybe, who knows are we building a story to April 20th? Are we building a story to April 12th, 2026? I don't know. But I'm along for the ride. You can leave questions in the comments. I'm sure that the comments on this will be lit up like crazy. Send emails to notsamwrestling@gmail.com because we're going to tackle all of it and everything that happens on the press conference on the Monday podcast. And I'm sure have a lot more to say about everything that we saw with The Rock and Cody Rhodes tonight.
Are you going to sleep tonight?
No, there's not a chance. I won't sleep for days after this. You kidding me? Final Boss is back. The most electrifying. No. I mean, do I look tired to you?
No.
No, I'm buzzing, baby. I'm buzzing because the Final Boss is back and I'm a Final Boss guy. You can have my soul, Rock. It's not much. There's not much left at this point, but you can have it if you want it. It's yours. Can you have yours?
Sure.
You can have Megan's too.
Yeah.
How about the kids? The unborn kid.
Sure,
Can you have that?
yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Take it. Take
Perfect.
the baby.
Whatever soul you need. That you got anything in closing? Final Boss.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let them cook, baby.
Yeah, baby. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you on Monday with a new Not Sam Wrestling. Like, subscribe, do the whole deal.